as you may have heard in the news yesterday, the government saying they are not going to go down a route of dealing with the WASPI women by way of compensation. Women affected by those changes to the state pension age have accused the government of treating them with utter contempt. Even their own are turning on them. Diane Abbott speaking in the Commons yesterday.
The WASPI women fought one of the most sustained and passionate campaigns for justice that I can remember, year in, year out. We did promise them that we would give them justice. I understand the issue about the cost, but does the Prime Minister really understand how let down WASPI women feel today?
That is Diane Abbott talking in the Commons yesterday in response to that news coming through that compensation's not going to be available to the WASPI women. Just how let down do they feel? Judi Moss is joint coordinator of the Suffolk WASPI women, joins us on the programme. Judi, a very good morning to you.
Oh, good morning to you as well, James. Thanks for having me on this morning.
You are very welcome. I expect not in the best of moods, Judi. What is your reaction to yesterday's announcement?
Well, I think like the other 3.5 million WASPI women up and down the country, we are angry, disappointed, disillusioned, frustrated, because this has been dragging on. We've been in this campaign for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you sort of think there might be light at the end of the tunnel.
You were promised light at the end of the tunnel, Judi, weren't you? Let's be honest about it.
We were. And in fact, back in November last year, when the Pat McFadden, the Secretary of State, decided to state that he was going to revisit the whole information that had come to light regarding the previous decision to pay or not to pay compensation. He wanted to do it thoroughly. It led us into not a sense of false hope, but a sense of possible promise that there would be something positive that would come out of this. And obviously, to hear the words yesterday were astounding.
Yeah. Out of the blue it came, and no compensation to be paid.
Yeah, and he also chose to make that particular announcement when the House wasn't actually sitting. So there were very few MPs in attendance. And in fact, last week, over 100 MPs put their names and signatures to a letter that was sent to him, prompting him to do the right thing and pay this compensation. Many were Labour MPs, they're cross-party, but many were Labour MPs, including some fairly recently appointed ones. So I think that shows their commitment to seeing that this issue is remedied once and for all.
Just remind ourselves of what a WASPI woman actually is. These are people that were affected by the change in the pension age and were told pretty much without warning that it was going to happen, right? That is the root of your problem with this situation.
Yes, exactly. So women born in the 1950s were, like many women, the pension age had been 60 for a long time. Men were 65. There was an equalisation. We're not against that. We're not against being the same age as a man to get the pension. What we were against is the fact that we weren't given sufficient notice leading up to becoming almost 60, thinking that, we made decisions to maybe not necessarily give up work, but go part-time to help with childcare, maybe elderly parents or relatives that needed some support. So we didn't make those decisions without all the facts to hand. So when you're sort of 58 and expecting to get your pension at 60, it comes as a blow.
Yeah, and of course, when we are talking about pensions, this is not something you can organise overnight, is it? It takes years of planning, years of paying maybes into a different pension or something. You can't just be told that news overnight.
No, and also, in divorce proceeding settlements, that women would be made the pensions, or if you like, from their ex-spouses would be payable up to the age of 60 when the state pension kicked in. Then you'll find you're 66, you've got another 10% of your life to wait, and you've got no income potentially. So the government's own watchdog, the Parliamentary Health Service Ombudsman, found in our favour. They found in our favour in March 2024 and said that maladministration had occurred and therefore remedies should be sought, really, and which is what we have done to seek it. But all the way along, the government have been blocking this. And I think yesterday, they'd made their minds up back in March 24.
Yeah. So they kicked it in the long grass as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, they've been paying lip service really ever since. So,
it's not a small sum of money, Judi, is it? We're talking probably £60,000 is what it's valued at for each and every person that loses out.
That's the amount that possibly, varying levels of that's between maybe 45 to 60,000. Yeah. But what this is about, it's the maladministration, but the watchdog, as the PHSO has found. Yeah. And that's anything that the remedy for that is between 1,000 and 2,900 for that loss of, if you like, time that we were notice period that we weren't given to make these adjustments for ourselves. And that is what their government watchdog has found. And by actually denying their own government body, if you like, the watchdog, it's just laying the grounds for future issues like this to not be resolved. If they can't actually listen to their own voice at the top saying, right, make this right for these women, where do we all go? This is meant to be a democratic country.
So we're not talking about huge sums of money for each of these WASPI women, are we, in terms of compensation?
No, it's not. So the government are saying it could be worth up to having to pay £10 billion, which they can't afford. And actually, they saved £186 billion by moving the goalposts, moving our pension ages up to 65 and then not long after that to 66. Yeah. So there is money there. And that's the issue that that we've been fighting on for this length of time.
But I can remember the Labour Party almost to a person saying, if we win the election, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and that included compensation for the WASPI women. You must be feeling a great sense of betrayal now that they're in power and have abandoned it.
Yes, and a grieved betrayal, in capital letters there, because that is exactly how we feel. We feel, this is not only morally wrong, but it's contemptuous as well. Through no fault of our own, we are victims of a state injustice that's now been in place for over 10 years. And they've sought votes from women, and they're stupid. They've shot themselves in the foot because 3.5 million voting with our feet in the next election will show a very different result, I'm sure.
Well, what is now available to you, or is this the end of the story for the WASPI women?
No, it's certainly not the end of the story. So where we'll be going from here is that we will be, obviously it's got to be reconsidered, and it's a disgraceful political choice. This is a small group of very powerful people that have changed our face of history, if you like. And so we will be taking our legal advice from our legal team. Options remain on the table, and we will stand ready to pursue every avenue in Parliament and through the courts to secure justice. This has been shamefully denied to us for over 10 years.
It's interesting. Not a week goes by, Judi, without I get an email. Oh, did you get sold this a few years ago because something was wrong? You're entitled to compensation. Did this happen to you a few years ago? I mean, it is a culture that is now fixing a lot of injustices as we go forward. Somehow the WASPI women have been left out of that.
Absolutely. And to be honest, James, this really is politics at its very worst. Because this is not something that we're just seeking money for because we feel like plucking it out of thin air and let's get 3.5 million on our bandwagon. Yeah. We've all had an effect of this. And can I just say, I might have mentioned this before, that in the time that this campaign's been running, over 300,000 WASPI women have died. Now, one 1950s born woman is dying every 13 minutes. So by the time you and I finish this conversation, there'll be one less for them to for the pension to be paid.
Yeah.
And that's a shocking indictment of how the government views our situation.
They will say, oh, well, yes, we did say we would do something, but then we didn't realise how bad the books were. We didn't realise how short of money we were, so sorry about that. That is what they will say. What will be your reaction to that, Judi?
They will say that for sure, but when they were in the shadow government, so when the Tories were in, they were shouting loudly from their side of the house, saying that there is money there to fix it, and come on, Conservatives, you're not doing your cohort of women.
And the moment they get in power, they abandon it. Yeah.
They have flip-flopped so much. I absolutely feel like this country at the moment is on shifting sands and everything is crumbling around us.
I mean, it's going to surface again at the next election, surely, because the amount of rage just within your good self, and we know, of course, of other issues that have emanated from the government. And I guess you could argue that all governments are the same. The moment they get in power, things change. But you've been lied to. Let's not dress it up, Judi. You were lied to.
We know that, and I think that's the hardest thing. It's a contempt, really, to actually treat women. Yeah. And if it was, I'm not saying it's women or against men. It's just a situation that we are all women. So it's contemptuous the way it's being handled. And yesterday's speech, Pat McFadden, the Secretary of State, sort of almost diverted attention away from the subject of paying out compensation for the administration that had been proven by his own Parliamentary Health Service ombudsman. And instead he talked about how they are helping women by increasing our state pensions annually. Well, so are men. They're getting theirs the same. Yeah. They're offering women who are most in need pension credit. That's fine. You try to get pension credit if you're £1 or 50 pence over the limit. Yeah. And they're committing to honouring the triple lock whilst they're still in government. That is not the same as paying out for a misdeed, if you like.
Well, there's money for a team of 60 to go to China for 3 days. So there is that, Judi. So there is a couple of quid knocking about. But on a more serious note, obviously it's a devastating day for you and other WASPI women to hear that very cold announcement that was made under the radar. It just kind of crept up, didn't it? We didn't think, we weren't aware of it, had we?
It's happened before. They made an announcement just before the Christmas recess last year, and previous announcements have been when, it's the weekend or they're breaking for the summer. Yeah. So, yes, there is an element of this stinks.
Judi, your message, finally, to Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, who promised you a change and a resolution to this all those months ago, your message to him this morning, Judi.
I would like him to sit around a table with our WASPI leadership. I would like him to actually come and stand face to face with WASPI, as he did about 4 years ago. We met up with, he was one of the MPs in Parliament at the time, and he was Mr. Smiley, and said, oh, yes, I absolutely am behind you. We've got photographs with him making a commitment, and we'd just like to ask why he's turned turtle on us.
Judi Moss is joint coordinator of the Suffolk WASPI women, who were all told across the country yesterday there is to be no compensation. Judi, keep fighting the good fight, and thank you for joining us this morning.